recording this now, and I will turn this over to Becky.
Thanks, Alicia. Good afternoon, everyone. As Alicia said, my name is Becky Sears. I'm the Injury Prevention Coordinator for Bassett Medical Center here in Cooperstown. And part of my job is to provide outreach education on the top 3 traumas that we see in our emergency room. As you could probably guess, falls is our #1 trauma that we see here. Last year alone, we had 389 people seen in our emergency room for injuries related to a fall. So that's why falls prevention is very important. Some of the folks that come in, it's a simple fall, we can treat them and send them back home and on their merry way. Other people come in and those injuries are a little bit more serious. Some of them are then into rehabilitation centers, nursing homes, and some people unfortunately never can go back to live the life that they were prior to a fall. But we can do something about that with some fall prevention tips. We can kind of help you keep on your feet. So we're just going to go through some slides today, and I'm really going to talk about 6 tips that you can do to keep yourself from having a fall. We'll see if these are going to work for us here. There we go. So every 11 seconds, an older adult is seen in an emergency department for a fall-related injury. And the good news is many of these falls are preventable. So let's take a look at those 6 steps. The first one is to find a good balance and exercise program. Talk to your healthcare provider. Have a yearly review of your medications with your doctor or pharmacist. Get your vision and your hearing checked annually and update your eyeglasses if needed. Make your home safe and talk to family members. We're going to take just a few minutes and go over these in detail. So finding a good balance and exercise program. Well, what's that going to look like? We're very fortunate that we live in Cooperstown and surrounding areas, that we have the Clark Sports Center here, and they offer some amazing programs there prior to COVID, and hopefully we'll be getting back to that soon. But you're going to look for a program that interests you and fits your lifestyle. That is how you're going to stay active in that program and stick with it. Clark Sports Center does have Tai Chi classes available. They have Tai Chi in the water as well. And my coworkers and I, we go out and we teach Matter of Balance. It's an 8-week class, meets 2 hours a week. And it teaches not so much how not to fall, but how not to fear falling, because sometimes that's the root of it. And as we go through this, you'll find that out. So, fear of falling is an important factor contributing to falls, okay? A lot of people don't realize that. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I have a fear of falling, so I reduce my activities because I don't want to fall. Because I've reduced my activities, my muscles maybe get a little bit weaker, I lose some strength, I'm not ready to get up and do things, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and do this. But because I've been inactive, my body's not ready to do that, and that's when a fall can happen. Okay. So when you take some of these exercise and strength classes, it's going to build your confidence, and it's going to keep you doing some of those activities that you love. The second point is to talk to your healthcare provider. I know a lot of people don't like to do this. We don't like to go to the doctors. We don't like to let them know what's going on. And they'll be like, so how are you feeling? And we might have a laundry list of things that might be bugging us a little bit, but we'll be like, oh, we're fine. Yeah, everything's good. This is the time where we need to really be honest and open with our healthcare providers. Okay, communication is going to be key. You can take a falls risk assessment. Just a simple group of questions they can ask you, and by those answers, they'll figure out, do you really have a risk of falling based on what they're finding? Talk about some recent falls that you may have had, even if it's just a small fall. Okay, that can lead to big things. Discuss changes in your body and your confidence in performing everyday activities. If you used to be able to go down the stairs without a problem, and now all of a sudden you're maybe not having as much balance doing that, you find yourself that you have to hang on to things more to be able to go down or up those stairs. Those are things that you should be talking about. and be open and honest with your provider about how you're feeling, some symptoms that you may be experiencing, concerns about living independently. When they have the whole picture, your healthcare provider can help you be more confident. Maybe there's changes in medications they can do, or exercise programs, strengthening exercises that we can work together with you to build a whole package for a fall prevention program for you. We need to regularly review your medications with your doctor and pharmacist, and this is really important. And when I'm talking medications, we're talking prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, and herbal remedies. They all fall into the class of medications, and a lot of times we don't think about a vitamin that we're taking or some herbal supplement as a medication. We only think of the things that are prescribed by the doctor that we have to go to the pharmacist and get. But all of them, they can work together really well, and sometimes they can work against each other, and that can affect things like our balance, which could lead to increased falls. Take medications only as prescribed by your doctor in accordance with the directions provided. Some medications, when taken with other types, can cause vertigo, make you feel a little bit dizzy, could change your blood pressure and cause drops in blood pressure. Many medications have side effects that could increase your risk of falling. Telling your doctor or pharmacist everything that you're taking is an important piece of that puzzle to keep you on your feet. So a lot of people that I talk to when I go out and do presentations are like, well, I take these prescription medications, but then over the counter I have these. And it's like, well, does your doctor know that you take these over the counter medications? And like, well, no, because they're just over the counter. But it's really important to have that open and honest conversation so that we make sure that medications aren't interacting with each other. If you're finding yourself having some dizzy spells, some vertigo, it just may be some of the medications that you're on, and a simple change could alleviate that problem. They always say, take your own advice. Get your vision and your hearing checked annually and update your eyeglasses. I don't know how many times I struggle with these. Without them, I can't see hardly anything. And you get the new prescription, and I'll get it filled. But your eyes and ears are truly the windows to the world around you, and they're important to keep you on your feet. So those yearly exams are very important. All right, so Columbia University research found that vision problems are among the top contributing factors with falls in the elderly. Depth of perception can give us a lot of problems when we're walking down a flight of stairs. How far is that next step? Can you clearly see the edge of that step so that when you're traversing down, you're placing your feet exactly where they need to be? And most people know, but the inner ear is the key to our balance. If you're having some balance issues and some vertigo, it could just be that you're having a problem with your middle ear, and we can take care of that maybe through some medication or some other means to kind of help you out a little bit with that. Again, that's where it's all important, talking with your doctor, having your yearly eye and ear hearing exams and stuff, just to make sure that nothing that way is impacting your balance. This is probably the biggest one that I spend a lot of time talking with people about, and it's keeping your home safe. If you look around your home now and kind of think to yourself, are my walking paths clear? Are there any hazards in the way that might cause for me to have a fall? So let's look at a few of them. Remove tripping hazards from any hallways, stairways, walkways. We want to look for extension cords. They need to be tucked, electrical cords tucked up against the baseboards and not out where you might be walking. This is especially an issue come the holiday season. If we're putting lights up and things like that, we might run cords to reach the outlets, and we want to make sure that we're placing those in a safe place. And speaking about lights, you need to increase lighting in your hallways, stairways, bathrooms, bedrooms. Those are areas that we tend to find a lot of people have fallen in. We all know where our bathrooms are, and we might think, well, we don't need to turn the light on, it's just down the hall. and at 3 in the morning, you get up to go use the bathroom, and you might not have realized that a family member left something in the hall or outside the door. You don't put a light on, you're walking down there, that's a tripping hazard for you, and it could cause you to fall. Installing grab bars in key areas of your home is also a good idea. Make sure your stairwells have railings, grab bars in the bathrooms, next to the toilet, in the shower or the bathtub area itself. They have all kinds of designs that can be easily installed to kind of give you just another place to hang on to so that you have 3 points of contact. We always talked about that. You want to have 2 feet and a hand in contact with something for most of the time to help prevent yourself from falling. I know in my house, I used to have these, they throw rugs and scatter rugs. And I joke about it and I say, well, they're called that for a reason, a throw rug, a scatter rug. Well, they scatter a lot of times when you go to step on them, and they really should be thrown out. They look beautiful, they're great and decorative, but they have caused so many people to have an unexpected fall and injure themselves. There's people that say, no, I love that rug, I've got to keep it in the hallway. There's things that we can do with double-sided tapes to stick them down and make sure that they're adhered good to the floor surface below them so that they don't trip you up. You want to make sure that you clean out unnecessary items. Make your living area a little bit more clutter-free. Stacks of magazines, books, things like that, boxes of items that you're going to put in the back room someday or put up into the attic. Fall, early winter is a good time. You're going to be spending more time in your homes. It's a good time just to clear this stuff out, send it off to recycling, and make your house a little bit more clutter-free so that you can get around it a little easier. In the kitchen, if you find that there's items that you use often, put those down on a lower shelf. Don't put them up way high that you have to climb up on something or really reach, get yourself maybe off balance a little bit to get. Move those items to a lower shelf, and those items that you don't use very often or maybe just around the holidays, put those up on the higher shelves, and that's going to help you prevent a fall. We talked about electrical cords. Shoes and slippers in the house. They say you're supposed to wear shoes in the house just like you would outdoors. They recommend that you have a second pair of shoes that you just wear in the house. People going barefoot or just wearing slippers or socks in the house, it's a big cause for falls that we see. They can get just very slippery. My daughter 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, she fell down a flight of stairs in a house, 12 steps, and she just had her socks on and she missed that top step and fell down. Very easy to happen. If you're wearing slippers in the home, make sure they have a really good non-skid sole to them. Same thing with shoes, a good non-skid sole. And sometimes socks have little rubber grippies on the bottom of them, and those would be good if you say, well, I just want to wear socks around the home. Okay, but try to get the ones with the little rubber grips on them, which is going to give you a little bit more firmer surface, all right? When you're going up and down stairs, take your time. Don't rush, okay? It only takes a couple extra seconds to ascend or descend a set of stairs. Make sure you're holding on. Watch where you're placing your feet. Place your feet firmly down, one foot firmly down before you move the other one off. Okay, just some things that you can do around the home to keep yourself a little bit safe. So when this presentation is over and you start looking around your house, you might pick up on some of these things that you can do that are going to reduce your risk of a fall. Talking to your family members is also important. Remember, I mentioned talking to your doctor and letting them know what's going on. Talking to your family is also very important. Some people are hesitant to do that if they've been having some symptoms of dizziness or vertigo or feeling a little bit unsteady on their feet. They don't want to talk to their family about it because, well, what if they think I can't handle living by myself anymore? If I talk to them about it, they're going to try to ship me off to a nursing home. That's not the case. But your family can help you out. They could help you with things maybe around the home to make it a little bit safer. Maybe move those items in the kitchen from the top shelf down to the bottom shelf. Do some of those chores outside that you might need a ladder or something for. They might be able to do that for you instead of you getting up on the ladder. your family is important to help you keep living an independent lifestyle, and that's what everybody wants. Everyone wants to be able to keep living the life that they have and doing that as independently as possible, right? So talk to your family about concerns that you have about falling, and together you can make a plan to stay active in the year ahead. Now, I don't know how many of you have pets at home, but pets are amazing. They're great companions. You just don't let them be the reason that you fall. You know your pet better than anybody else. So if you have a dog or a cat at home, they get very excited when you've gone out and you've come back for a little while. They can't wait to see you. They greet you at the door. They're full of energy. They could cause you to fall down. So what we suggest you do is if you have a pet that's like that, get yourself a chair, put it right inside the door. This way, when you come in, you can sit down for a minute, and it gives your pet a chance to get all that excitement out and greet you and wag its tail and give you all the licks without knocking you off your feet. Okay, this way you give them a minute to settle down, you can take a minute to settle down, and then both of you can move on and not cause a hazard. A lot of times when you have dogs especially, it looks like they're sleeping so peacefully on the floor, and if they're in your way, you might be like, well, I can just step over them. I don't want to disturb them. They look, so comfortable. They can get startled sometimes very easily, and you don't want that to happen right when you're stepping over them, because then we're going to have a fall and someone is going to get hurt. So rather than step over them, maybe inconvenience them for just a minute, they won't mind. Call their name, ask them to get up out of the way so that you can pass without having a risk of a fall. Now, our pets, they love us. They want to be near us constantly. And I have a 65-pound border collie at home, and he loves to be right with me. But sometimes if I'm standing or sitting in a place for a period of time, he's so quiet, my dog is, I don't even realize he's come up behind me. Especially if I'm doing dishes for a while, he's going to sit or lay down right behind my feet in the kitchen. And if I'm not careful when I go to move, I'm going to end up tripping right over him because he's right behind my legs. So if you've been sitting or standing for a few minutes in one location and you have a pet in the house, just before you move off, just look around you, look down at the ground, see where they are. Again, if they're right there in your way, just ask them to move out of the way so that you can move without having a hazard of a fall. Pets are great both for our emotional and our physical health, and the right prevention strategies. They're going to be able to stay in the home with you without posing a risk. As you know, the weather has changed today. It almost seems like fall again, but we did have winter just a few days ago and some snow. Autumn and winter months bring a little bit of a different flair when we look at falls prevention. So let's just look at some seasonal prevention tips that might help you out. Fall is my favorite season by far. I love the colors. I love the crispness and the crispness of the air. I love the leaves falling on the ground and just the smells of it. Leaves are beautiful, but when they fall, they can make a mess. And when they get on our stairways and our walkways, they themselves can become a falls hazard, especially if they're wet. They can almost get like ice underneath. If they're wet, it looks dry, you go to step on them, but because the leaves are wet underneath, they'll slip on each other and can cause you to fall. So you want to make sure that you clear your walkways, your stairways of those fallen leaves, sticks, and debris like that, just to make sure that it's a little bit safer for you. And if you've got some cleaning projects outside to do, you've got some raking to do or gutters that need to be cleaned, again, please be careful when you're doing that. And if it's a job where you need to climb up on a ladder and you're not feeling sturdy to do that, maybe a little unsure, maybe not so confident that you're going to be able to get up there and do that job, that's when we can call in, family or friends or someone to come over and help you do that. In the winter, that's a whole nother story there, right? We've got slippery surfaces outside, ice and snow and sleet. You want to make sure that you wear shoes that have really good traction on them. Again, we talked about that in the house, how it's important to have some good grip on your soles on your shoes. The same thing in the wintertime, even more so. You want to be really careful getting in and out of vehicles. Get your balance before moving on. Again, we talked about the 3 points. If you're getting into a vehicle, open up your door, put one hand on the door, one hand on the steering wheel, and then you can lift the 1 foot up to start putting it into the vehicle. So you have 3 points of contact at all time. If it's really slippery out, open up your door and just sit in the seat first, and then swing your legs in that way. And that'll help you stay a little bit better on your feet. In the wintertime, they always say, walk like a penguin. You want to walk slowly and deliberately, taking small steps, and allow for extra time to get to where you're going. It's better to take those extra few minutes to get there than not get there at all. We need to be aware of slippery floors when we enter buildings. If we've walked down a walkway and we've picked up snow on our boots, and a lot of times we come in and we'll bang them off. Well, everyone that's come in that building before you has probably stopped and banged them off too. The snow got off, it's warm in the building, it has melted, so we could have wet floors and entranceways. And if maintenance or someone is not getting that mopped up quickly, you might not notice it as being wet, and it could cause you to have a nasty fall. You want to be careful when walking in buildings when we've been outside. Dress in layers if you're going outside. It not only helps keep your whole body warm, but it's going to help your muscles stay warm, and that's very important with your balance. When muscles are warm and relaxed, they can work better and help you stay on your feet. And if you're walking upstairs, coming in from the house, maybe you went to the store, things like that, be careful with packages that you're carrying. It's better to put things into a backpack to carry that in that way, or take more trips if you need to, take smaller loads. Try to keep your hands free when you're walking, especially on icy surfaces. Keep them out of your pockets. When your hands are free, it helps with your balance a little bit more. You know, black ice is an issue all the time when we're driving down the roads. We've had that with our vehicles. The same thing when you're walking on walkways or stairs. It may not look icy to you, but if it's in a shadowed area and just looks dark, if the temperatures have been cold enough and we had moisture, it very well could have black ice there. And you won't see it, but you're certainly going to feel it when you land on it. Okay, so we need to be very careful with that. I may have gone through this a little bit fast for you, and I apologize for that. The slides will be available so that you can go through at your leisure and kind of look at these tips again. Please stay active in your lives. That is a key too. If you stay active, then you can continue with the lifestyle that you like, that independence, having your body ready to move when you need it to. Your muscles nice and strong, your bones strong and ready to go. You'll have the confidence too to be able to do the activities that you love. Keep safe while you're doing your activities. Listen to your body. If you're doing something and you start to feel pain or discomfort with it, stop that activity and let your healthcare provider know. Okay. For more information and tips on reducing your risk of falls, you can give me a call here at the office. The number is 547-4812. Or you can email me anytime. Also by calling the hospital, just ask for the trauma program and they could get you in touch with me too. I hope some of these tips will certainly help you keep on your feet and keep living a wonderful, healthy, independent lifestyle. And Alicia, thank you for allowing me to share these tips with everybody today.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. I just have a question for you.
Yep.
So here I talk to many of the calls that come through, and I just wonder, how many times do you find that they weren't open and honest with their provider and that resulted in their falls?
More times than we would care to admit. I would have to say probably 60 to 70% of the people that I talk to, it's like, well, did you let your provider know that you're taking this medication, or did you let them know that you've been having dizzy spells for the last 2 months? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I'll get no, I didn't. So it's really important to be open and honest and have that conversation. Right. The other thing is, a lot of people have assisted walking devices, canes and walkers. And that's one of the first questions when I go in and interview someone and talk to them about their falls. Like, do you have one of these devices at home? And they're like, yes. Well, do you use it? And they'll be like, no. It's like, okay. there's, something that maybe we could do that's going to help you prevent a fall in the future. Because a lot of times when someone falls once, they tend to set themselves up for another fall down the road. And it's that cycle of fear. Because they've fallen, then they reduce their activities even more because they've had a fall, which reduces their muscle strength, and their ability to move around with confidence. And it's just that vicious cycle. It creates more fear. And then we get to a point where we just don't do anything anymore because we're so fearful that we're going to fall down.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much for your presentation today.
Not a problem. I appreciate it. And again, if there's anything, people have questions, they can reach out to me. I'll be glad to help them out. We also, if someone has canes, canes have those little rubber tips on the bottom of them. And I kind of liken that to tires on your car. And we always want to have our car stay on the road and have good grip. We need to have good tread on our tires. But people forget the tips of canes have to have good tread on them as well. So that's something that every once in a while you want to just check, see what the tread is on it. If they're getting worn down, they can be replaced. If they give me a call, I can replace them for them at no cost.
Okay.
And we also provide tennis balls that can go on walkers, which kind of helps them glide over uneven surfaces a little bit better.
Nice. All right. Great tips. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.